tomorrow is to offer some words of prayer on this very, very special morning. This is what we say. We say, Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov V'Yivarech Et HaChatan V'Avur Shalal L'Kol HaMakom V'Hatorah L'Kol HaShabbat V'Yet HaKala Asher B'Kol Yikansu L'Aklupa Yehi Ratzon Sheyizku Ligno B'Bayit Yisrael Asher Bo Yishkinu Ahava V'Achava Shalom V'Rayot Bayit Asher Bo Yigalu Varim V'Rayot Yosher V'Avat Torah Masim Toveh Nomar Amen. Now, let me translate it. Our God and God of our fathers, creator of love and companionship, joy and gladness, the hearts of these two young people, Marjorie and Harold, are filled with gratitude this Saturday morning because tomorrow afternoon, 5:30, they'll enter the covenant of marriage. We thank you for each other, for all the influences which have led them to each other. Help them constantly to be worthy of love. May their life together be illumined by your light. May they ever be faithful to the finest of themselves, to each other, and to you. And let us all say, Amen. I'm going to ask the canon to lead us really in a little medley, song, of course, of Simon Tov and Mazel Tov.
Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov.
Amen. Page 648, verse 26, please.
אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם אתה בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה. We rise, please, for the Kaddish. If you'll please be seated, you'll be able to follow the Torah reading on the screen. Rise, please, as the Torah scrolls. Now, let me look. A difficult part of Jewish history where you have the prophet Samuel. And according to Jewish tradition, it just isn't good to have a king. Kings are not good. And the reason being, when you're a king, it may be good if you're a king, but there's a corrupting element when you have power. It takes a very special person not to get caught up in their ego. And therefore, what happens really with here, the prophet is Samuel, and the people want a king. And they beg him for a king. Finally, God says, give him a king. And the first king of the Jewish people is who? Thank you, everyone. Right? Okay, it's King Saul. Saul's the first king of the Jewish people. By the way, the second king is who? Okay, fine. The third king is? There are about 65 kings. We can go through this entire morning. Okay. Now, Eyal is going to chant this message for us. He's going to do a portion of it. And Eyal, you'll excuse me. For the first time, I want to be more like a father, so I'm going to sit in the congregation. Sorry.
Baruch Shalom.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask now to take your prayer books once again. If you please take your prayer books. Our service continues with a series of very special prayers. It begins now on page 415. Page 415, we will read together a prayer for our congregation and for our community. If you'll read with me on page 415. We blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Together with all holy congregations, and their sons and daughters, all those who unite in prayer, those who enter them to pray, those who define some heat and light, lion for Kiddush HaTorah. They move sickness from them. And let us say, we turn now please to middle of page 415, a prayer for our country together. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors. Teach them insights of your Torah. Peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom. Creator of all flesh, the soul and inhabitants of our country with your spirit. Hatred, bigotry, which is the pride and glory of our country. Influence for good throughout the world. Nations from sword against nation. On top of page 417, we have a prayer for the state of Israel. As you're probably aware, those of you who are part of our congregation, Israel plays an important part, not just in my own personal theology, because of my own political philosophy and that of my wife, but also many of Leah's family lives really in the state of Israel. And in order to celebrate Eyal's bar mitzvah, we have people who've come not just from the United States, we have people also who've traveled just for this day to celebrate Eyal's bar mitzvah from the state of Israel. Some of these people have been before. They've been on this pulpit. I want to welcome my brother-in-law Mel Bornstein and Leah's sister Julie Bornstein. In fact, Mel and Julie live, how do we say it to be politically correct? They live, well, the West Bank. They live in the Sherman. They are dear, dear friends. As I look around the congregation, in fact, many of you have visited their house. Because when we go to the West Bank, we have lunch there. We have really a wonderful opportunity. They've spoken to this congregation. They've been featured in stories in the Post-Standard and Herald Journal during the Iraq War. It's good to welcome them as well, really, as their children are here with us. And that's Avivit. I'll talk about their son in a second. Also, I want to welcome my other brother-in-law, and this is Gadi Durlacher. Gadi is a Sabra. His parents originally came from Germany, and they lived in a kibbutz called Kibbutz Eyal. Kibbutz Eyal is in the Jordan Valley. It's about 160 degrees in the summer. They raise delicious grapes. And what do you bring somebody when they come from Israel to the United States? I guess Leah's sister, who could not be with us, Rachel, God bless her. Rachel's how old are you? How old? 40, whatever the case may be. And Rachel single-handedly is repopulating the Jewish world. Leah's sister Rachel has 9 children, God bless her. And is expecting her 10th. No, I'm only kidding about that. No, please, that's all I need. My father-in-law is sitting here. Leah, let me see what I want. Did you ever have your wife sitting next to you? It's like, this is how it is today. Gotti has been here before, and I also want to welcome really his children. They are here, and this is Shadmit and Chamta, and Mel and Julie's little boy, Nahi. These 3 children have never been to the United States. This is their first visit to the United States. We bring them to Syracuse. What they said, boy, the houses are so big here. Does everybody have a swimming pool? No, everybody doesn't have a swimming pool. The second thing also is that they will go back to the kibbutz and to the West Bank. This is what you call religious culture shock. They have never been to a conservative synagogue in their life. This is a very unusual moment, really, for the entire family. However, there's a wonderful prayer. The prayer is found on page 417, where we are united as a family and as a community, and we join together for prayer for the state of Israel. If you'll please join with me. Our Father in heaven, rock and redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Deliver them from their efforts of trial. Now, middle of page 417, we read together a prayer for peace, responsibly. May we see the day when war and blood should cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world. Nation will not threaten nation. All live on earth shall realize they have not come into being to hate or to destroy. Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you. Love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Now, we're not going to be using the organ, but in the middle of page 420, you'll be able to follow Eyal again on the screen. The text is there because of the technology. In terms really, there still is somewhat too much light reading the sanctuary, but we'll be able to follow it, and we ask that you join responsibly in the singing of the Ashray. Rise, please. precious teaching do I give you, never forsake my Torah. It is the tree of life for those who grasp it, and all who are blessed. Its ways are pleasant, its walls pass for peace. Help us turn to, and we shall return, in our lives as in days of old. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Eyal has prepared a brief message that he worked on his computer to prepare for this his bar mitzvah morning. First of all, I speak to many bar and bat mitzvahs in this congregation, right? We had a little agreement that I would not embarrass Eyal this morning. He was very, very clear with it. And I guess to a certain extent, what I remember this morning, as I thought about it walking up Kimber Road, taking a shower this morning, in fact, was not really today or even yesterday, but many times they are, when I speak to a bar mitzvah, remember I tell them that I remember when I named them in the synagogue, I taught them in Hebrew school, we go back even further. Remember? I remember the day when you were born. You were born on May the 3rd. It was a Saturday night, right? It was a Saturday night, and it was at Krauss Irving Memorial Hospital. I remember other little things that came really to the surface. I remember when you used to come to bed with us, when you were able to walk. You used to wear these little yellow and red pajamas, remember that? You'd come into bed in the bunny hole, you'd snuggle in with us. You'd get up around 6:30 in the morning and you'd watch 2 TV shows. Remember which ones they were? Which ones? Scooby-Doo, and the other one was Heathcliff. His 2 favorite TV shows. I remember also Eyal growing up sometimes was not such a nice kid, correct? What we used to do, we'd have pillow fights in bed. But what he would do, he would take, a true story, he would take an alarm clock and he'd put it into the pillowcase. Correct? Right? And then the other thing that I remember as well is when we used to sit down to dinner, especially when we go to Florida to visit Nanny and Pa. Remember who the first one at the table was? You. And my mother used to love to feed him all the time. And who was the last one at the table? You. But to a certain extent, I think everybody realizes how special this day is. This congregation and this community, and Eyal and I had a little disagreement about his speech because I wanted to write it. I thought I write better than he did. And he insisted after I wrote a speech for him that he wanted his own speech. Because I wanted all the stuff where everybody would sit with Kleenexes and handkerchiefs in that kind of way. And he said, I'm just a regular kind of guy. But to a certain extent, again, as I look at this congregation, this morning is very, very, very special. And it's obvious, you know why it's special, Eyal? Because the reason it's special, we celebrate not just you, but we celebrate possibility, we celebrate hope, we celebrate survival, we celebrate heroism, we celebrate God, we celebrate faith, we celebrate belief, spirituality, and confidence. There's some youngsters in this congregation, some kids in this congregation, not yet had bar and bat mitzvahs or have just had it. I want to tell you, sometimes they complain to me that it's hard, that they've got to go to Hebrew school, they've got to have bar and bat mitzvah lessons, and it takes away from their time. I want to tell you something. What you ought to do is think about Eyal, what this young man has been able to accomplish in this pulpit. And I said to somebody, you hear his voice today. I don't know if you heard it. There is a voice here. It's a voice that comes from here. It's a voice that comes from here. And what you hear this morning is the voice of God through Eyal. I once said to somebody before, and I want to welcome his teachers who are here as well. There are lots of teachers who are here. Once you get to know this young man, he doesn't see himself as a hero, but he touches everybody. Remember we went to Disney World with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was a great trip. In fact, the president of Make-A-Wish is here. He's a member of our congregation, good friend. It's Bob Davidson. We took a U.S. air flight down to Disney World, and after we got off the plane, the pilot of the plane gave me a letter that he had written. It's a beautiful letter that how Eyal touched him and the other people in that airplane. This young man is in 7th grade. Where do you go to school? Levy Junior High School. I had to say that that's his teacher, his principal. Eyal is in the Junior National Honor Society there. Paints. They've given sermons about him in terms of what he does in playing third base really as well. But I think, again, what we celebrate here is really what's important in life. There are so many people I want to thank, but I'll do that later in the service. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a Toronto Blue Jays game with some of your kids. When I came back, my wife said to me, she said, "Look at this. Eyal wrote this on his computer. The way he writes with a math stick. This is what he does. He interfaces with the computer. It takes a long time, doesn't it? A long time. This is what he wrote, not for his bar mitzvah, but he wanted to share it with everybody. He wanted you to know what this is what it says. He says, I have a dream that someday, your spelling is horrible, by the way. Absolutely horrible. Where's his teacher? Where's his Huh? It says, someday, I have a dream that someday, I will be able to walk and overcome all my disabilities, and that we shall be freed from war, fear, and slavery, and the world shall be full of freedom, love, and peace, and God shall answer each and every one of your prayers. And when that day comes, it truly will be a miracle. Folks, Hanukkah has come a little early to Temple Ave. Today in this congregation, we celebrate a miracle as great as the crossing of the Red Sea, the giving of Torah at Mount Sinai. Eyal, as you're probably aware, I give every bar and bat mitzvah gifts. Correct? You like presents? He loves presents. The first present I want to give you, I'm so proud, it's the Bible Exposes. You read from it in the actual text. This is from the congregation. You're going to continue to read the Torah. He said, Leah's already on Saturday afternoon, and he was going to hold it for you, okay? The second present I have for you is a Kiddush cup. Eyal said in his speech, and it's absolutely correct, on Friday nights what we do, his brother Erez does the first part of the Kiddush, and Eyal does the second part of the Kiddush. This Kiddush cup is very special because it doesn't come again from our gift shop, perhaps, from America. This Kiddush cup comes from the state of Israel. This is for you. The third present I have for you is a membership in our Kedima Youth Group. Eyal is a member of our Kedima Youth Group. He goes to the meetings. In fact, there's a national magazine. He's been published in it already for an article that he's done. And this is for you, your membership. You don't have to pay dues this year. And finally, what we have for you, to me, this is the most important. It says, it's a document, open it up. It's a bar mitzvah certificate. This is what it says. It says, presented by Temple Audit to Eyal Sherman, who have completed the required studies, who's newly called to the Torah, is a bar mitzvah on this Sabbath day, the second day of Tammuz, corresponding to the 11th day of June. Yehi chelko b'torat Adonai, may his portion be among those who live and labor in the Torah of our God. Does he who signed it? Who signed it? See it over here? Who is it? It's Eyal. Okay, he said Rabbi. The other hand, what you have here, you had a pearl inside it, and you wrote a little note. He said, "You're a great student!" Exclamation point. Love, Cantor Emmanuel Pearl. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, at this particular point, if you've been to bar mitzvahs in the past, what I do is I acknowledge people in the congregation. There again, in terms of family, I've always asked myself many times, how do you do it? And what do we do it? There are certain people in this congregation that without them, we would not have been able to do it. I want to acknowledge them at that particular time because